What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon. I'm making a quick video. Don't really have a whole lot of stuff to talk about, at least not right now. But I was browsing through, like Bleacher Report, looking through stuff, checking out tweets, this, that, and the other. And I came across one that was talking about, it was a graphic with our new linebackers coach, Rob Leonard, and it had a little quote of his. It was put out by, the Dolphins official website and stuff like that. It was a tweet of theirs. Anyway, he was talking about how, he really likes our linebacking core. They're young, they're fast, right? We got Jerome Baker and Raekwon McMillan. I think that they're going to be really good going into their second years. Obviously McMillan's going to be in his third year, but he missed his whole first year because of the torn ACL. So anyway, I think that they'll do a lot better. They both progressed throughout the year and got better and better, and I think that they're going to have or be that much better in year 2 playing together. Now, also, there's Kiko Alonso, who was our best linebacker on the team last year. He had, I think, he had like 3 interceptions, a couple forced fumbles, a fumble recovery, and I don't think he hit 100 tackles, but he was certainly up there. I can't remember what his tackle count was, but he was one of the leading tacklers on the team, certainly our best linebacker, blah, 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 right? And there's a lot of people are talking like, oh, I want to get rid of him and, whatever. But why, right? So his contract is not that high, certainly not for the production that he gave us last year, despite that he was one of the bright spots on the team, really, overall. But anyway, so the reason why though I'm making this is because there was a reply to that tweet. I retweeted that out, but there was a reply to the tweet that said, because Rob Leonard was like, they're young, they're fast, and they're tough, right? Were his things. And so the reply was, yeah, except for Kiko, because I kind of like him and he does do, some good things for us, but I'm tired of him getting, pass interference or unnecessary roughness penalties or whatever. Okay. I can see how that's frustrating. Absolutely. Sure. But why would you want to get rid of him? Especially considering the fact that those calls were complete trash and certainly not his fault. So let me do a little comparison between him and Jarvis Landry real quick. So Jarvis Landry was obviously gotten rid of by this team, and in part because of his overly aggressive attitude. Now, don't get me wrong, I loved his fire and his passion on the field. Part of the problem, though, was he would constantly draw penalties because he would go overboard. There are perfectly good ways of being fiery and passionate without, taking it too far and thus causing yourself, problems. How many times did we see Landry, set us back 15 yards? Now, in his defense, to be fair, I think a lot of those were unfair as well. Like, for example, when he made a good play along the sideline, it happened to be along the Buffalo sideline, he gets up and he spins the ball on the ground. They gave him a taunting penalty because he just so happened to be on the Buffalo sideline where the play was dead, right? That's where he got tackled. He was on the sideline. It just so happened to be the Bills sideline. I think that's complete bullshit. Like, come on, man, really? Get the fuck out of here with that. That's ridiculous. However, there were plenty of times that after the play, Jarvis Landry would have some sort of, penalty or something, and it was always like huge ones, like taunting and stuff like that, and it was always like 15 yards, and it was always setting us back, right? Kiko Alonso, his calls are always during the play, so bang bang moments, not when time has slowed back down because the play is over, but real bang bang moments. And in fact, again, I made this argument throughout the entire season. If you go back and look at the footage, if you look at the tape, Kiko was doing everything in his power to try and make sure he wasn't, unnecessarily hurting the other guy. But because of the way that the rules are designed and structured, football is this fucking big pansy sport now. And of course, you know, there's all this talk about, oh, well, no, maybe we should make pass interference reviewable, and oh, we really need to look at the rules this offseason because we're realizing that people are finding our desire for money not really what they want. Oh, that's interesting. We care more about the money than the quality of the game, and the fans don't like that. Oh, that's funny. That really is funny. That's a shocker, right? It must be a fucking shocker. But anyway, we'll see if they actually do anything. Of course, also, let's note that Colin Kaepernick apparently got a settlement from the NFL because he withdrew his collusion case on them, which is really interesting. I haven't seen any more details on that. I would like to see more details. If any of you know where I can find that or have a link to an article or something, I would like to find out more details, because I can't see Cap just pulling out without having some sort of like legit adequate compensation or whatever. But I don't know what that would be, honestly, because I mean, the whole reason why he was doing what he was doing, well, I suppose in that case, it's a little bit different than, you know, his racial injustice stand, because that was, I mean, it's tied together, but I'm saying in that particular case, with the collusion accusations against the NFL, that's more along the lines of the NFL conspiring against him to keep him out of the NFL because of the way he was protesting social injustices, right? So it's kind of like a subset of that overall issue. But anyway, I don't know. I mean, because I'm pretty sure Cap's not going to be playing again this next year. So I don't know. I'd be curious to see. Anyway, so my point is, though, man, look, that's ridiculous. So Kiko should not be held. See, that's the difference. And so those are examples of why I say, like, the context of things matter, right? And you have to look at it. You have to look at the whole picture, and you have to look at the reasons why things happen the way that they happen, right? Kiko Alonso was getting bullshit. It's just like Jesus, who's the linebacker from the Packers? Oh my God. Clay Matthews. There we go. Clay Matthews from the Packers. Like the first 3 weeks of the season. Ooh, that was nuts. The first 3 weeks of the season, he got, and it was a big buzz in the NFL, controversial roughing the passer calls just for essentially landing on the quarterback. It was horseshit, right? But so those are examples of why it's important, because Kiko is not to blame for those penalties. He's playing football. He's playing a very physical and violent sport. It is inherently violent. Look, at the bottom line, if you want to get rid of all of the injuries, all of them, like, period, right? Because the NFL has this guise that they care about player safety, and then, like, they make it seem like, oh, you know, we're doing everything we can to eliminate all penalties. First of all, you'll never do that. But if you wanted to, you know how to do that? You get rid of football. But that's not going to happen either. And it shouldn't happen. Football is a great sport. Yes, it's dangerous. Yes, it's violent. But that's why these guys have access to the best medical treatments. And that's why. But of course, you know, they need to stop with all of these artificial drugs. Let these guys smoke weed and have more holistic types of healing. But also, too, develop the technologies to help prevent, you know, injuries from happening, and to identify them faster and more proficiently and efficiently, right? And then you know, fix those problems, right? Look, he shouldn't be blamed for those. I'm trying not to get too far off topic here. He shouldn't be blamed for those because the NFL's rules are all fucked up, and, you know, all they care about is their bottom line, their paychecks, than actual player safety and the quality of the game. But whereas not all of Jarvis Landry's incidents, like I said, I gave you some examples, or even that last game in which he got ejected, I actually don't think it was I don't even think he started that, because when I went back and I watched it, it looked like, I think it was against the Bills. I think the Bills player like hit Jarvis in the face first, and that's what ended up setting him off. And then they got into the big spar and got ejected and stuff, right? So even in that case, though, you could probably still say that he went too far because he got into that sparring match. But anyway, my point is, because then at least if he didn't do that, the only thing that would be visible on tape would be the other guy accosting him, as opposed to, you know, him also being in the wrong. But anyway, so my point is, though, is Jarvis Landry, a lot of those penalties were absolutely his fault because he couldn't control himself, right? Because he would allow his passion, his drive to get him to do great things for us. But then he wouldn't stop there. And he would take it further, and that extra, that after the play was dead type of stuff is what caused him to get the penalties. A lot of them, not all of them. And some of them, again, I believe were not his fault. But that's what it was. Kiko, all of his shit is in the middle of the play when things are going at hyper speed and you have to make split-second decisions. And he's getting these calls because of the state of the rules, not because of him. It's not his fault. He's not doing anything. And again, when you go back and, I mean, the motherfucker literally looked like a goddamn fish out of water, flopping around with his arms back and his head up and shit like that, so that way he wouldn't draw a penalty. And because he was so like boisterously blatant about the fact that he's not trying to hurt the guy, he gets a penalty anyway. Like, come on, really? Anyway, so there's my defense of Kiko. I wanted to, since there was really nothing else to talk about, I wanted to make a quick video to go over that, because it just annoys me so much, man. Like, that's my point about how people get like all emotional about stuff, right? So like that particular person who wrote that response or that comment is like, oh my God, I'm so up all in my and obviously they're not consciously thinking this, but subconsciously they're like, oh, I'm all up in my emotions about the fact that he gets all these penalties, but I only care about the fact that he gets the penalties, and I don't care about why he's getting the penalties. And so I'm just gonna freak out, and then I'm just gonna blame him. That's ridiculous. So now you want to like cut one of our best linebackers and most productive linebackers and most experienced linebackers because the NFL's rules suck and they're penalizing him for nothing? Well, that's stupid. That's just stupid. That's dumb. It's ignorant. And it doesn't make any sense. Because that'd be like the argument of people being like, oh, we should trade Xavier Howard. No, that would be disastrous. You're creating a hole on your team for absolutely no reason. Zero reason. Right? So, and those two cases are a little different. In X's case, pay that motherfucker. They need to pay him this offseason a big contract. They need to pay him like he's the #1 corner this year. Why? Because in 3 years, because he's got the production to prove that he's worth it. 2, he's still young enough and is barely starting to enter the prime years of his career, barely starting to enter. He's on the back end of his current rookie deal. We drafted and developed this guy. He's a shutdown, lockdown corner, and he's proven that he is worth being paid the big bucks. And on top of that, if you lock him down now, you don't have to worry about him testing free agency and, you know, driving up the price. And then on top of that, the cap goes up every year. The cap goes up every year. So the amount of money that you pay, if you pay him as the top corner this year, in 2-3 years, there are going to be other guys that are breaking that and being the next top best or the next top corner. And then his contract is going to look like, you know, a steal, right? But people don't think about these things, right? Because people oftentimes don't care about the context and the reality of all this stuff. So that's why you guys have me to point all that stuff out to you. At least that's what I try and do, right? I'm not, you know, I've said this before, I don't have a different opinion or perspective because I'm just trying to go against the grain and be difficult. No, it's because I actually give a shit about like full context. I care about facts. I care about the data and information, and you know, it's important to me to put out that other perspective because nobody else is. Nobody else is. They only cherry pick to find the things that back up their points. They don't give you the full context, and so then like we're all left to wonder, well, why are these things happening? But all these people said this. Well, it's because they're not giving you all the information. So I like to be, since nobody else likes to point all this stuff out, I feel like it is, you know, my place, my duty, responsibility to at least be that other voice and be like, hold on. I'm not saying that, generally speaking, I'm not saying that everybody else is always wrong or what have you, but they always leave out, more often than not leave out other important details, right? Important factors that go into the equation. And so that is where I come in, and hopefully I can do that for you guys. And if you guys appreciate that, if you guys like that, which I hope you do, you know, we just hit 100 subscribers like last week, I think it was, and now, you know, we're moving past that. We're working our way up to 1,000. I appreciate you guys for that, and keep helping me grow. The more we grow and the bigger we get, the more I'll be able to do for you guys. I should have my new mic. My other mic was broken. Something, I don't know, it just stopped working. So but it's being returned. I'm getting a new one, and hopefully that will be here soon, so that way I can put that behind me. I don't have to worry about these, you know, minor audio issues and stuff, and then I'll keep building from there, and we'll keep getting bigger and better. And so anyway, I hope you guys do like this. If you do, make sure you hit the subscribe button, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the bell if you want to get the alerts. Leave your questions, comments, and concerns down in the comment section, and as always, make sure you follow me on Twitter at Dillon Tartaro. And with that, I'm out. We'll see y'all soon. Fins up.